Go ahead.
Welcome into Press Box Live, your favorite baseball chat. Stan, the fan of Press Box and PressBoxOnline.com. Luke Jackson, the managing editor of both of those publication content.
That's true.
Spots.
That's 100% true. Yes.
Yeah.
And we got a new issue.
New issue with Kevin Brown on the cover. When are we going to do one with Ross on the cover?
Hey, I've been suggesting that every couple months.
And
For
Jen
the
and
past
Glenn
few
have
years,
shot it down.
He says
Luke,
that Jen
I
and
mean,
Glenn is shooting it down.
yeah.
It's him. It's Stan who's shooting that down. I'm telling you.
All right. Ross Grimsley's with us, the old left-hander. We talked to you on Tuesday this week. I had dental surgery yesterday. So then watched the Orioles last night. And Luke, as you so fittingly said, watching the Orioles last night was like dental surgery.
Root canal.
Root canal.
Yeah. I mean, Shane Baz was a little shaky early on, and then he found his step. But nothing going offensively. But they have 4 hits, 5 hits. You're not going to win many games like that. And then the bullpen gave up 6 runs in 2 innings to
and the defense.
I mean,
again.
Again.
I mean, and really, when they were playing fairly well, you could connect that back to.
When was that, Luke?
They had a 7-3 homestand, Stan. And you could connect that back to, well, they're playing much cleaner defensively. And when they don't play very well, you can connect it back to, boy, they're giving teams outs and runs.
Yeah.
And
making a lot of outs on the base path.
Yeah, just sloppy play. And that's been the story all year. I will say that that's kind of been the story throughout baseball in recent years, but I think the Orioles more so than a lot of teams do not play the game cleanly enough to win.
Ross, the ball club, and it's been kind of like the saving grace has been to say, oh well, but the amazing thing is, as poorly as they played, they're only a game and a half out of a wild card spot. Well, now suddenly they're 8 games under 500, 39-47, and that game and a half is now 3. And I think if we would lose tonight and Boston wins, we'll be in last place.
Right.
It's going the opposite way it needed to go from Dodger Stadium. They had 2 winnable series. The next 2 series were against the Angels and against the Nationals. Both series, they won the first game, lost the last 2. When you've seen clubs like that, are they still capable of turning things around, Ross, at this point in time?
The way they've played, I mean, they can play really well and then they play really poorly. I just don't. I don't know. It's over halfway during the season.
Yeah, they're like 85, 86 games.
They can look really well, but they got so many inconsistencies that I mean, I don't know what they can do to make it better because they have nobody to. You trade somebody, you're going to create another hole, and you're not going to get value for what what you got. You're not going to get anything back. So it's a head scratcher. There's a lot of issues. I mean, just anywhere you go in the game, on the team pitching, the starting pitching has been doing pretty well. Boz battled through, got 7 innings, and he battled. He was inconsistent. Command for him, just like Bradish. Bradish is another one that's got really great breaking ball. But a lot of these guys, they don't establish a fastball. They don't have fastball command. And then they pitch. And it's all of baseball, not only Orioles, but they pitch to have the guys swing and miss. So you're going to throw a lot of pitches. You're not going to get very many innings from your starter. I think they average 5.1, which is probably right in the middle of everything else. But yeah, it's and the bullpen has just been. I mean, what do you do? And then Aiken goes down with whatever he's got, and I got some interesting stats on injuries that are really interesting. But
we'll get into that. But
yeah,
and what about Luke? We haven't had a chance to talk on air about this. the mystifying game in Los Angeles at the Big A,
Uh-huh.
where Trey Gibson gives up a 2-run homer,
Hmm.
then shuts down the Angels for 3 innings, and you go, he really looks good now. And I know there were a walk or two sprinkled in there, but mystifyingly, the excuse we got, well, he's got a fresh bullpen,
Hmm.
and I thought there were opportunities the couple nights before to get guys in for an inning, and I kept repeating, Helsley had the blow up on Friday night at Dodger Stadium. You want to get that guy back out there as soon as possible, unless you think there's something wrong with him. He waited 4 days to get him and then had to put him right back into, and he responded well, but he put him right back into a high leverage situation when he had a good sized lead on Monday, that game that Bradish pitched, I think, in Los Angeles, where he had like a 5-0 lead or something like that. Could have gotten him into the 8th inning of that game, to get him an inning. And then all of a sudden he's got to unload all the bullpen pieces. And I'm left scratching my head going, boy, I would have liked to see Gibson go 6 innings or maybe 7.
Right.
Please. Yeah.
Right. And like I understand where he was coming from if he had a better bullpen to lean on. Yeah, because you
Right.
have an off day the next day, you have a fairly fresh pen, you can be aggressive with that bullpen. It's just that at any one time, they usually don't have more than 2 or 3 bullpen arms really throwing well.
Yeah.
And that was certainly the case then. So could he have squeezed another inning or two out of Gibson? Sure.
Yeah.
Could Gibson have come out for the 5th inning and also given up a 2 or 3 run homer?
Well, I
It could
mean,
have also happened.
that's what manager Craig Albanese is going to point to
Right.
and I heard Jacob Calvin Meyer say this, and he went over sort of the percentages. You got a guy with a 5.6 ERA, and he's got a 5+ ERA, and the chances of him blowing up are fairly high. But I want to see that pitcher go out there and be challenged. I'm fairly
And try to
good.
grow. Yeah.
I'm I'm pretty good at that. Like the night you and I were texting with one another, I said Rogers is fading right now, and he
Hmm.
didn't get him out. So it's the
Right.
inconsistencies of Albernazz's
Right.
approach I find kind of irritating to
And
me.
this was 5 or 6 days after I thought Gibson had a really big moment early in his career at Dodger Stadium. They were
Yes.
down 3-0.
Yep.
He was on the ropes, bases loaded, nobody down. He gets out of it.
Yeah.
I think he struck out the next 3.
Struck out all 3 guys
He ends up going 5 innings and puts his bullpen in a position
in a better
to
position.
in a better position. And that's a game that they very well could have won. They're up 5-3 going into the 9th inning. They end up blowing it. Um, But yeah, to your point, I do think that we have seen some good things out of the rotation of late. Kyle Bradish had a great start in Seattle, great start in Anaheim, but it's kind of all season for him. It's sort of been steps forward and then a step back, which is not unusual in your first full season back from Tommy John surgery. That's again, that's nothing that alarms me long term because this year it's been flashes, but we've seen flashes of the old Kyle Bradish, just not in a long stretch at this point. I think we know what Shane Baz is at this point. I think Trevor Rogers, what he's done lately, has been really encouraging. And as the Orioles start to slip slide as a team, if you're a team looking for a left-handed starter at the deadline, maybe that's an interesting pickup for you at the deadline because with Trevor, for me, sometimes it's as simple as is he going to be the 89 to 91 Trevor or is he going to be the 94 to 95 Trevor? Because the 94 to 95 Trevor can be pretty damn electric. And that's the guy that pitched in Miami in 2021. That's
Right.
the guy who pitched at times for the Orioles last year, and that's the Trevor Rogers we've seen the last 2 starts.
Yeah.
And so how do you keep and I'll pose this to Ross, how do you keep his arm strength and arm speed in a place where he can throw 94, 95 every time out and be his best self?
Yeah, well, it gets back to moving him. I think the Elias said that they're all in. So
Yeah, he wants to be a buyer. I don't know how much I don't know
I
how
know,
much I buy that.
I know it.
Well,
Who he's trying to,
the team's play on the field is screaming, "Don't buy." You
Right.
know,
sure.
I don't know exactly what they'd buy that would help this team right now.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
what can they use to buy? What are
right.
they going
That's a good point too.
They
Right. I
don't
mean,
have?
what they need is some sort of elixir to make the players who they've been counting on for years play better.
Exactly.
You know,
That's
they need Gunnar Henderson to play better. They need Jackson Holiday to play better. They need Kobe Mayo to play better. Like some of these guys who they've been counting on for years and years, they're here. They've been here, and it ain't working.
and why is that?
You know, and
That's
and
one of the
and you might
questions.
be, and
That's
Ross, you might be nearing a point where you need some fresh eyes to figure that out.
yeah.
That's hey, I couldn't agree more. But
You know,
that's one of
I
the
always think back to like what Theo Epstein said, who's, certainly one of the best GMs that I've seen in baseball in my time as a fan.
No
He always
question.
said that once you get to about year 10 as the lead baseball executive as a team, it might be time to start thinking about new plans because your vision gets stale, your voice gets stale, and it's time for you to get a fresh start. It's time for the team to get a fresh start, et cetera, et cetera. Well, this is year 8 for Mike.
Yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of the guys who he's been counting on for years and years are now all underperforming at once. And the whole operation is sort of stagnated.
Right.
Haven't figured out the pitching development thing that the
There
riddle.
is none.
And, I mean, I will give them a lot of credit for Brandon Young.
Oh yeah.
That's an undrafted kid who's punching above his weight class, and they've done a great job with him. And like, I'll give them all the credit in the world for that, no question about it.
Sure.
But they have not developed any power arms in the bullpen. So like yesterday, it's a 2-2 score going into the 8th inning, and there are really no reliable power arms in that pen who they've developed that you can go to keep that score as is. And that's been the case for a little while now. And they were able to sort of paper over that by hitting on a guy like Brian Baker on waivers, hitting on a guy like Yennier Cano in trade, hitting on Felix Batista, who they inherited, hitting on like Cionel Perez and guys like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
and the farm system is dried up. They haven't really gotten
And
any help.
Rico Garcia
Yeah.
was good last year, and this year Dietrich Enns was good last year, not so good this year. It's been a mixed bag there. Uh, I mean, it looks kind of foolish now that they went out and traded Brian Baker to Tampa
Mhm.
for a for a prospect that they drafted, and then they trade that prospect for Boz,
Right.
and Baker is there saving games, and you just spent $12 million on Ryan Helsley, who
Right.
gets hurt. You know,
Who's pitched 15 innings so far,
right,
or 60, whatever it is,
right.
and at times looks scared to throw his fastball.
So
There's a lot of guys like
This
that.
is a guy, Ross, who
team.
throws 100,
I
and
know.
he's throwing,
Hey,
and he doesn't want to throw because he gets hit hard.
you look at that's one of the things. The starters don't establish fastballs. That they pitch like Mexican League pitchers from years ago. Breaking balls. You might get a 3-0 breaking ball. You see this, and I mean, sometimes it's okay to do that, but I mean, learn to throw an off-speed pitch over the plate.
Well, how about,
Then
and Ross, how about like a four-seam fastball down and away?
well, I mean that's
Yeah, I mean,
I get that. I
not
mean,
to sound too much like Jim Palmer, but
no, you're
seriously,
absolutely right.
what
But
what was
these guys do not have command of a fastball.
what was
None
fascinating
of them.
last night to hear Kevin Brown, and I know he gets criticized somewhat by a lot of older fans that are saying always citing statistics and all that.
Right,
It
right.
was amazing last night that Shane Baz struck a guy out, and Kevin Brown goes, "That's his first strikeout all year on a changeup," and then he struck out another guy on a changeup, and then they were crediting Adley Rutschman after the game for coming up with that adjustment in Shane
Oh,
Baz, like as if it was some kind of
brilliant, Ross,
sophisticated.
brilliant,
Yeah,
just brilliant stuff.
that's two of the things they don't have fastball command. They can't locate it, and they don't use their changeup.
yeah,
I think Boz knows it 6% of the time or 7%. You're starters. You know
right.
that here's something that somebody asked the AA radio guy. asked him about one of the pitchers they had. And he goes, how's he doing?
Was
Well,
that
he's
was that me?
no,
It
no,
wasn't me. Okay,
no, it
because
wasn't
I
you.
had him on a couple weeks ago.
Said, how's this guy doing? And he said, I can't think of his name. He says he's really having trouble with his command and his delivery. His mechanics are inconsistent, but they're teaching him a split. And first, are you serious? He can't throw a fastball. You're teaching him a split.
Right.
That's
De
that goes
Leon. They're
deeper.
talking about
That's
De Leon. Yeah.
yeah, it might be. But I mean, you're teaching me. He doesn't have command. He doesn't have a delivery that he can repeat. There's several guys like that. But looking at your minor league, what's going on in the minor leagues, you kind of scratch your head there because they're not really doing really fantastic there, which a lot of times don't mean a whole lot as long as your players are progressing. But that's another thing right there.
This is a Frank Costanza airing of grievances right now.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, it is what it is, you know, and you go, why? Let me give you this with the injuries. The most days on the injured list between 2024 and 2026. This is major league and minor league. Yankees are number 1, Mets are number 2, the Orioles are number 3. Days lost, but on with your major and minor league teams.
So
you know now the Yankees. Go ahead.
Okay, I have a couple things on that.
Go ahead.
I think part of that is that the Orioles do target certain traits, physical traits in pitchers that perhaps lends them to be more susceptible to major injury to their elbow and shoulders. I think that's part of it. I think another part of it is something that the manager Craig Albernes has touched on to some to some renown at this point when he was talking about how and he was sort of saying it without saying it that Sammy Basayo hadn't been asked to play through certain things that he should be asked to play through in the minor leagues, right? That
he didn't even catch on a daily basis in the minor leagues.
He caught about twice a week in the minor leagues. And what he's getting at is that basically he was saying that this is how I took it. This is me. This is my speculation. That he thought that players down below had basically been babied. And
Probably, yes.
And that the IL stints were too quick of a trigger, and that nobody's really asked to play through anything, and that throughout baseball, you get in the minor leagues, Monday is off now. That's a universal day off. A position player prospect gets a DH day, and a position player prospect also gets a load management day at some point.
Oh, gosh, there's the load management.
And so they're on their feet playing 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And then they come to the major leagues, and the expectation is that unless it's torn or broken,
you're playing 6 out of 7 games. Yeah.
You're playing because the leader of the team is Pete Alonso, who hasn't missed a game in 3 years.
And the Orioles hitters average 26.8 years old. Right. They're young compared to the other teams.
And so I think that with that high IL count, I think it's probably those two things that I was saying that, yeah, they probably do target pitchers who are more likely to end up on the IL. But I also think there's probably a quick trigger on the IL stints and not asking players to play through things that they should be able to play through.
Yeah, well, and also when you talk about the pitchers, I was looking at that. Oh, minor league pitchers, days lost in the big leagues, or days lost. Yankees, Mets, Orioles. Again, these are minor league pitchers, 26 years and younger. Or on the Orioles are top 3 in that. So it's you just kind of scratch your head on some of this stuff. I mean, obviously, being the Orioles with the kids being 26 years and younger, pitchers and players, you kind of scratch your what's going on down there, and that's.
All right. Well, we're not gonna be able to figure out what's going on down there, but we're gonna talk more about what's going on up here and what Mike Elias' options are as we head to the trade deadline and whether this team will be good enough over the next 2 weeks to play itself back into relevance in terms of the playoff picture. Talking baseball, Stan the Fan, Luke Jackson, Ross Grimsley. Right now, it's time to talk about the Costas Inn and the law offices of my good friend Byron Warnken. 443 results is the phone number. It's not just a phone number, it's a mission statement at the law firm of Byron Warnken. You can also go to Warnken Law, that's Warnken, warnkenlaw.com, to check on what they offer if you've been injured in an accident in Baltimore or the state of Maryland. If you have been injured, you want somebody to represent you that knows the game and knows how to play it and knows how to apply pressure when it's needed. The law offices of Byron Warnken. Free results, warnkenlaw.com. We're also brought to you, and I was remiss in saying this at the beginning of the show because I was so excited to be back with my partners on this show. We are brought to you by the Costas Inn with two great locations. The original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard. That's where you can still get steamed crabs. You always have been able to get them there for over 50 years, well over. 410-477-1975. You want to check the price point, your availability, and the size of the crabs to make sure your party is going to go off without a hitch. Whether it's 4 people, 12 people, 20 people, Costas Inn can handle your crab feast, whether you want to eat them in or take them out. Also located at the Timonium Racecourse above the OTB, right next to the OTB, above the grandstand at Timonium. Both places open for lunch and dinner. TVs all over each place. You can watch the World Cup. You can watch the Orioles. You can watch the Ravens in a month or so, 5 weeks of preseason football. The Costas Inn. Tell them Stan the Fan and the guys sent you. And guys we haven't done it for a couple of weeks. We're out of practice. We give them 6 thumbs up from the guys. All right. We're the trade deadline. We're not into July just yet, but it's coming Thursday. Will be July 1st, right, Luke? Looking
July
at
1st is tomorrow, right?
Isn't it tomorrow the 31st? The 30th of June?
Today's the 30th.
So it is. Is it?
Yeah. You know what Ben McDonald would call the next month?
What,
The
what
month
do
of
you call
July is what he would call it.
the July? You're absolutely. Wait a minute.
Yeah, tomorrow is
Oh,
July.
because I'm looking at the Cubs. Okay. Today is the 30th.
Yeah,
Okay. Tomorrow's the 1st. Okay.
yeah.
All right. I said it was Thursday. All right.
I'm looking at the date
Orioles,
on my computer right now.
Orioles are off on Thursday. They go to Cincinnati for a brief 3-game trip to Cincinnati. Very odd schedule. Come home to play the Cubs and the Kansas City Royals. Cubs have been playing some good baseball lately. So we are essentially 5 weeks away from the trade deadline because trade deadline is now August 3rd. Luke, you surprised me with how, I won't say eager, but you're very open to trading Trevor Rogers. To me, I think he's one of the surest guys I think they have because you and I both know somehow they're going to be scuffling for pitching next year.
There's no doubt about it. He is a free agent at the end of the year,
Yep.
and you would have to bake into consideration whether you're going to give him a qualifying offer or not. And if you do plan to do that, then if you're going to trade him, you got to get something that's better than the qualifying offer,
Right.
whatever that happens to be. And with the qualifying offer, if he were to sign elsewhere, you would get a compensation pick at some point after the first round. It would be like, I think in the like late 30s, maybe, which is a fairly valuable pick. And then Taylor Ward would be the other obvious expiring. Again, you would have to consider whether you want to give him a qualifying offer or not. Taylor Ward has had a very strange season. He hit 36 home runs last year, and he has been a walk machine this year, and he has not hit at all at Camden Yards. And I don't know what's going on there. He has hit a lot better on the road, and he has hit for zero power at Camden Yards. I don't even know if he's hit a home run at Camden Yards. I don't know what's going on there. So I don't know if he's not seeing the ball. I don't know. I got nothing on that one. So he's had a very strange season. So those are the two obvious ones. But then the less obvious one that you got to think about, year and a half until free agency, and you don't know if next year's going to be compromised by work stoppage or not, Adley Rutschman.
And then there's a couple of the arms in the bullpen. I mean,
Yeah, like if you want to try
Garcia
yeah.
or Helsley if you decide to
Right,
sell.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Ross, so what is your thinking in terms of what tack they should take? And I realize Mike Elias is dancing a thin line. He doesn't want to promote the fact that the team is not, I mean, admits openly that it hasn't gone, it's backwards from where we want it to be, meaning he'd be much happier if they were 5-6 games over 500. I think we saw this team being a little bit better than that this year. But what do you think? He's walking a fine line. When does he make a decision whether to buy or sell?
It's gonna, well, if he sells, the fans aren't going to care for that a whole lot, and they're going to be, they may riot. Who knows? But they look so good at times, and then they just can't maintain that. So I think at some point in time, you'll know more. I think than within the next month, and that will make the decision, I think, a little bit easier.
Well, come on, that's 3 days before the trade deadline, a month.
A month.
I'm asking you.
You'll know something in the next 2 weeks.
I think you'll know by the All-Star break whether they can turn this.
And then you can make your decision there, but
right.
and see. But I know Rogers. I mean, you hate to get rid of him, but I understand you get something for him, going to lose him anyway. Rushman, what catcher you got that can take his place? You ain't got one. You better get a few. They had 3 on the roster at one time.
Well, they got Chadwick Trump again. They got Chadwick.
Do I?
Always Chadwick Trump.
That's a possibility. So I mean, there's, it's going to. I would think that the way things are going, you need to get, sell. But they're not going to do that when they're 3 games back of the wild card. But that's quite a few with so many teams ahead of you. So, I mean, I just don't see them playing much better. So that kind of says sell.
After 85, 86 games, that's a fair,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's a pretty fair assessment.
And really, I mean, it's about 2 full years of mediocre play dating back to about July 2024.
Yeah, they're about 40 games, 30.
And really, I mean, like
under 500.
You think of last year's nightmare start. By the time this time last year came around, they were about 11, 10 games under 500. Right now, they're 8. They're not even that much better than they were at this time last year.
Right.
Yeah.
They started 15-32 or whatever it was. I mean,
I think you got issues at the minor league level that I mean, you need to get. The guys. The most important thing is the lower levels where you develop a foundation for your minor league players, and they're talking about cutting another A team out. Which would really be a catastrophe. Now you're settling for the college teams to teach your players how to play, and the independent leagues come in really big time there because they're getting 12 grand when a guy signs and 60 grand if he goes to the major leagues. So I think the independent leagues are going to start to really flourish with some decent players that can help, and that's going to be your minor leagues, foundation, unfortunately. But I think you need guys that can teach these people how to play. And baseball is one of the only corporations or whatever that don't hire ex-players, ex-coaches that have had success as players and coaches. which is a mind-boggling thing to me.
Let's flip the hat the other way. Let's say they don't sell. Let's say they want to buy. Ross, you alluded to it earlier. What do they have to give up? I mean, that's where I'm at with this team. They've got clearly they've got a couple good prospects. They got this Joseph Zerwa. They've got DeLeon is still a decent prospect. They've got Ike Irish. They've got Wehai
Yeah.
Aloy. Those guys are Frederick. Nate George, now we find out, has got some kind of mysterious,
Right.
I won't call it
Right.
a mysterious illness. They're not coming clean with what it is, but it's a somewhat serious situation.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out months at this point.
Yeah, he's been out for close to 2 months, I think.
Right. And I
Right.
mean, they don't have a ton of guys having spectacular years down at the minors. They
Right.
really don't.
No.
I mean, it's
Right.
and there's really not no one knocking on the door to help. I mean, honestly, the guy at Norfolk having the best year is Creed Willems, but there's no place for him on the major league roster because he's a catcher first baseman type. They've got plenty of those.
Yeah.
And he ain't a good catcher.
Right. He can't really catch. He can hit though. He can hit.
Yeah. We have some guys like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
Right,
much,
no.
Luke, how much, to flip this on its head? I mean, every team has to deal with injuries, and Lord knows they're all over the place. But when you look at this team, how much do they miss Jordan West?
Oh man, it's
Oh,
that put a huge knot in their plans when they reported to spring and his elbow started barking.
Yeah.
And they claim that they traded for Blaze Alexander before they knew about it. I'm not so sure about
I'm
that.
not so sure. of that.
But yeah, and he was. We always talk about like these guys like need to play the game the right way and play the game right, like cleanly and all that good stuff. Well, he does all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Westberg does, yeah.
Westbrook. He
But
does.
but
As Brandon Hyde used to say, he does everything right.
Yeah.
And this is also a guy who could hit second or third in your lineup.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a right-handed hitter who wasn't going to be overwhelmed by right-handed stuff. He could hit right and left-handed pitch. It's big loss. There's no question about it.
big time loss.
But it wasn't like I mean they're 8 under 500 right now. If they had him, they wouldn't be 8 over 500. You know what I mean? But they would be better. They'd be
Right.
better. You know, and if Holiday had gotten a full
Well,
spring,
some of that defense at third base just wouldn't have been a problem.
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, it's clear, and as much as I like the kid, Kobe Mayo is not going to ever be an everyday third baseman.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And
anybody
then you
who saw
cut
him in the
off,
minor leagues
you
would have said
cut,
the same thing.
you cut him
Yeah.
off at his legs by signing Alonso, which
Right.
I'm not arguing with, but it's really left him with very little position flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's been a DH who's really good against left-handed pitching.
Yeah.
And like God bless the kid, he's going to have a role in the major leagues for a long time if he hits major league pitch. I mean, left-handed pitching.
Right.
Because there are 30 teams who are desperate for hitters who can mash left-handed pitching. So he'll have a role in the major leagues for a long time. But that's all he is.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. So if you had to pinpoint, Luke, two guys that you could acquire, what are you looking for
Oh, as a buyer?
as a buyer? what would help turn this team around?
Well, another high-end starter like a Joe Ryan would really help.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they have the ammo to go get that guy. Because then you would have like Joe Ryan, Boz, Bradish. Like that's a pretty decent collection of arms.
Yeah.
And then I, I hate to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but someone who could like carry in like an elixir for a lot of these underperforming. Now I can't even call them young guys anymore. They're more like youngish. Like Adley Rutschman's like 28 years old. 26. I mean, you know,
Well, his
But-
bigger
but
problem,
definitely,
his bigger problem now that he's playing is his durability. Been on
Right.
the IL.
I know.
twice.
I mean, the last IL
Yeah.
stint was a total fluke.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
total.
I mean, a
fluke.
total fluke. But I mean, I was talking before about how they need more power arms for the back end. that would be another area where they really, and I mean, a couple of years ago, they also needed power arms in the back end, and they took chances on Sir Anthony Dominguez and Gregory Soto, and they had to take those chances because they hadn't developed anybody into those type of guys.
Right.
So,
Right. And they
But
still
they're in
haven't.
that spot now too.
They still haven't. All right, guys, we're going to leave it at that for today. Appreciate you guys being on with us, and we'll do this again next Monday. All right.
that
Sound
sounds good
like
to
a
me.
plan?
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
For Luke Jackson, Ross Grimsley, I'm Stan the Fan Charles. We've been brought to you by Byron Warnken, the law office of Byron Warnken, 443 results or warnkenlaw.com. That's WARNKEN, warnkenlaw.com. And also by the great Costas Inn with two great locations, 4100 North Point Boulevard and above the grandstand next to the OTB at Timonium. See you guys later. Orioles play tonight, 6:35. Trey Gibson versus Eric Fetty. We'll see if Trey Gibson can pitch 5 innings tonight. All right. That's going to do it for now. Bye.